Welcome to my second ever tournament recap. This was maybe, let's see, 10 months ago? Sounds about right. So this is like 5 or 6 months after my first ever tournament. I went from 1300 rapid to about 1700. So in this tournament, I was definitely a lot stronger of a player, and we're going to see how that turns out because I decided to play in the U1800 section, where in the first tournament I played in the U1600. Now I am at the very bottom of the U1800. Because guess what? We have a rating now, 1091 USCF, United States Chess Federation. So, see how this goes against Matthew Helke, a 1482. I play e4. So, everyone in this tournament, keep in mind, is way better than my first tournament. So, this was certainly a good experience to have in this Winter Open tournament. e4, e5, we get Vienna, quite structured. So, what we get is here, he lets me play the Vienna Gambit, plays this really passive variation, d6. I develop my knight to put more pressure on this pawn. He pins that knight to my queen. If the knight moves, obviously, he takes my queen. So, I develop my bishop, he develops a knight, and I try kicking away his bishop. He takes, I take, his knight goes here, and I go back to d1. Now, why the knight here is a strong move is because he threatens this. So if I ignore it, let's say I go here, as you'll see by the analysis, he forks my king and my rook and wins the game. So I guard that. Now, why this is a mistake is because I should have gone here in a much more active way. However, I didn't like that because I blocked this pawn and I blocked my bishop. He puts his queen here, looking to maybe castle this way. So I play this move, which allows my bishop to now guard the pawn. He goes here because he does not like the tactic of me going here with my knight, forking queen and the knight. So he goes here to also stop me from potentially going anywhere over here or any nasty ideas. He's also preparing this. So I castle. I'm like, okay, you do whatever you want to do. I'm going to ignore it. He goes with his idea. b5, I put my bishop back, he takes, I take. I get an open rook now, and I have a slight advantage already against a 1482. Quite a strong player. He puts his knight back, looking to reroute it to here. So what I do is I bring my queen, I line up my queen and my rook in this battery formation. So looking to potentially attack his king side. He goes here. Looking to put his bishop here and stopping this advance. So I put my rook up here. This looks like a really weird move. Rook a6. Basically, I am bringing up my rook to attack this. He finds a very good move, attacking my rook and defending it. So I move my rook back, saying that, okay, your knight is at a weird spot, and your rook is now trapped in the corner. If you want to go here, maybe we can repeat moves and make a draw. He doesn't want to draw, so he puts his bishop here. And I push my pawn, looking to just absolutely bulldoze him. He goes here. Now, as you can see, I'm building an advantage in this classical game against a strong player. This is my first tournament in a while, and I'm clearly a stronger player because against a 1482, I am building advantages. So his whole idea of going there was that he does not want me to go here, which would fork his queen and his bishop. I'll demonstrate. Let's say he castles. I go here. The queen has to move. I take a bishop. I win. So he sees that, goes here. So what I do is I take. He takes back. Suddenly he has an open rook down on my king. Looks scary, but I didn't really care about it. So I put my queen here, looking to attack a pawn. He blunders. And I get a beautiful tactic. I spent about 8 minutes in this position, just sitting there. It's like, there's something. That move does not look good. Does not look structurally good because his king's stuck in the center. His pieces are just terrible. But I'm like, okay, my rook is blocked in. How do I open it up? Brilliant move. We get double exclamation mark. Now, why is this brilliant? Because when he takes, look at my advantage. Suddenly I have an attack. Queen check. Queen here. And now he only has one move. bring this queen back here. Now here is where I rushed. Okay, in my original calculations when I first did this, I saw the whole line where I go here, he blocks, but I was like, oh wait a minute, if I can go here, I can win his rook. I live by an airport. So I saw this. Now the best move is this line, which goes check, here, check, let's say here, and then I go here, and I get a rook on the 7th rank. I'm going to pick up the bishop, and my attack is crushing. So that's what I should have done, and I should have seen that logically. I considered it, but I jumped the gun. I was like, oh, I can win a rook. However, I missed this follow-up. He puts his knight here, which connects these pieces, and I go, dang it. Whatever, I'll take some pawns now. Maybe I can justify sacrificing a bishop. He plays this move. Now, I'd like to say, because it had been so long and you don't announce it's check in a tournament, I thought I could take the rook. And so I was about to go do that when he reminded me that he in fact put me in check. So I had to take. There was nothing else for me to do. I take, he takes, and I take. So we get 3 pawns for a bishop, and I'm like, okay, it's not great, but I'm going to try my best. In the endgame, he brings his king forward. I get greedy. I take a pawn. It's all right. He puts his rook on the file. I move. Now, this isn't great. Perhaps I should have taken that first. He takes, I take, and he pushes a pawn, looking to break open the center. But I have this nice file, but so does he. This pawn will probably eventually fall. So I go here, looking to target this. This is just definitely not a great move, because after takes, he gets this. My pawns are all separated, and his easy pickings versus rook. So I attempt to justify my move, and I back this up. Ignore the voice crack. He brings his rook up, attacking this, so I do a desperado. What a desperado is he's going to win this pawn. There's no way for me to guard it, so I sacrifice it, essentially, because I'm going to lose it anyway, so I might as well lose it in a beneficiary way. So he takes, and I go here. I go for this pawn. He lets me have it. I'm not complaining. I take the pawn. He attacks my rook, and I move all the way up, looking to just put pressure on his back ranks. He puts his rook on b5, looking to just take all of my pawns. So I start advancing my pawns, where let's say if he gets greedy and takes here, I set up this trap. His bishop's now trapped. There is nowhere it can go. He takes, I take, and this should be a draw. So he's almost 1500. He doesn't fall for that. He checks me, I move up, and he takes the pawn now. So I check him, he moves, and I bring my king in. He moves his bishop, because I was attacking with my king, and I move here, looking to just get my king in a solid space in the center. He takes a pawn, and I start advancing my pawns. Check, here, takes a pawn. I start advancing. I'm like, okay, let's see whose pawn's gonna get there faster. Your pawn or my pawn. He attacks my rook. I move my rook. He pushes, I push. He makes a mistake. What he should have done, simply kept pushing and he would have won. However, he jumped the gun. I push. He tries to guard it. I promote. Takes. Pawn pushes. Rook here. I take it. And we agree to a draw in this position. Now, why this is a draw is because there's no way to win. A rook against a rook and one pawn, or with no pawns, there's physically no way to win. He had like 2 minutes left. I had about 20. So I had a time advantage, but I was not willing to risk it. So I offered a draw. He accepted, and I end my first round with a draw against a 1400. So I'll take that. Next up, we have a almost 1600 level player. And they just keep it getting better. So we get e4, e5, and he goes here. As you can see, I no longer play the Sicilian because I'm cultured. He plays the center game. I take. He puts his knight out to attack this. I guard it, and he plays a Scotch gambit. I should just go here, which is all theory I know now, but I didn't know back then. So I check him. He blocks the check. We trade pieces, and I put my knight here. Now, why this is a mistake is because a much better move would have been to go for this pawn. However, I didn't like it because of this, but I missed that there is a whole line that goes like this, which I may explore on a different date. But I make a mistake. He takes a pawn, I castle, develops. I play this, a very prophylactic move, because I'm like, okay, all three of your pieces are aimed at one square, so I want to make sure nothing goes there. He castles, and I throw my pawns as bishop. He takes, I take, and he pins my knight to my rook. I keep making a mistake. Pins my knight to my rook, so I unpin it. He lines up his rook and the queen on this file, so I move my queen out of it, also backing up my bishop so that I can move here, and then I can like save my bishop. Like I'll just do the line. Let's say we get a random move like this. This takes, all good. So that's why I moved here. He throws more pawns on my king, so I make this move now. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna move my knight, and we're gonna trade off bishops. We trade. He goes here. He kicks my knight away. I put my knight back, and he starts pushing his pawns towards me, just looking to create some kind of explosion. He is not rushing to take this pawn because there's no need to yet. So I go here, stopping, and he pushes. Now he takes, and I get this nice square for my knight. Attacking his queen. He checks me. We trade off queens and enter an endgame. I put my rook up, stopping him from giving this check and guarding this pawn simultaneously. He just moves his pawn, basically saying, all right, I'm going to start throwing my pawns at you. I attack his knight. His knight moves. It clearly wants to go here now. I make a mistake. Now, why this is a mistake? The computer doesn't think it's a huge mistake, but it doesn't do anything. That's the thing, is I need to be more active. It's too passive. I need to throw pawns at him, or like or at the very least, like try to open something up like this. Like that would be a good way to play. So he gets his knight on this outpost, and now I try to go for this pawn break. Make no mistakes. If he takes the pawn, I take his knight. He sees this, guards, and gets ready to double up his rooks. So I try to trade off rooks. He can take here, because then I take here. So he guards this, saying, okay, well now let's see who's going to take it. So I do the same thing. I bring my rook up. He makes a waiting move here, here. We trade off. Now I'm just pawn down. What?
Can I come in quick and grab my stuff out?
Sure.
Who are you playing with?
No one.
Oh, are you recording?
Yeah.
Please put your laundry away before you go at 3. Okay. Thank you. Did you see like the molds in here? We also have to vacuum your room and clean up behind your desk, but that's okay. Did you pause your recording? Thank you, Owen.
Anyways, I'm pawn down in endgame. I push. He goes for these pawns. I guard them. Brings his king in, and I'll just play out the next couple moves. Play through the endgame, and eventually he goes to win. He goes to win this pawn. There's nothing I can do to save it, and I resign. So, not a great result. I'm 0.5 out of 2, so I have 1 draw out of 2 rounds. I have half point, and we're going into round 3, final game for the day. So we'll see how it goes. Oh gosh, dang it. Anyways, e4 up against a 1477 child prodigy who I end up facing later. In my latest tournament, I end up facing her again when we are both much higher rated, which that'll be interesting. E4, E5, we get a Vienna gambit. She makes a mistake, a common mistake in the Vienna. She did not know her theory. Takes here. This is why it is a mistake. Because I get a great pawn center and I kick her knights away. Her knight moves back. I develop my knight. A lot of great moves in a row. Basically, just I have a super pleasant position. She goes here. I develop a bishop looking to attack her. She misses this. Puts her bishop here looking to pin. So I call her bluff. Takes. She goes here and I castle. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to find a way to attack you. She misses it and castles. And now I demonstrate why I'm a very good attacker. Even 10 months back, I was still quite proficient at attacking. Brilliant move, numero dos. I take. If she takes, I get this check. My queen comes in. Checkmate's almost unstoppable. She doesn't take it, so I say, okay, well, I'm going to bring my knight in, and we're going to start attacking. I threaten a fork on a king and queen. She goes here. She goes, oh, wait, your bishop's trapped. So I sacrifice my knight. Rook takes. I take. She attacks my rook, and as you can see, is now mate in 5 for one simple reason. I sacrifice my rook. Yeah, she can take. She can fully take this. However, there's something more powerful, which I'll show you. So she moves her king. She sees it. I bring my queen in. She takes. Check. Checkmate. Pretty fast win against a 1477. So I'm like, all right. I was far underrated. That's a pretty good win. You know, I'll take it. So going to day 2. I'm feeling good. I needed that win. However, I have the black pieces now. We get e4, e5, and we get a Roy Lopez with like a Berlin, and he plays this variation. It's quite uncommon. So I back up my pawn. We develop. I make a lot of inaccuracies, but it's okay. I try to trade bishops. He doesn't want trade. So I put my knight here, looking to go here and get a really nice spot. He moves his bishop. I get my knight there. He puts his queen forward, and I line up an attack. My attack's coming. He moves his knight, so I threaten a discovered attack. Let's say he does a nothing move like this. It is check, and I simultaneously threaten these, and I win his queen. He sees this, moves his queen, so I try breaking open the center. He guards it, takes, queen takes, and I go here, lining everything up. He puts his queen here, and at this point, I am completely winning. My attack is devastating. 2 times in a row, I had devastating attacks. And this is a strong opponent. So all I have to do is take here. I win this, I attack the rook, his king side gets open, and I absolutely crush him. I destroy him. However, I got a bit too eager. I rush. My idea looks good. I went for the same thing, where, if he takes, I take his queen, and I am doing great. However, I missed something in this position, which is that you gotta remember in chess, every time a piece moves, it stops doing what it was doing before. What was this bishop doing? Attacking this pawn and preparing this. When it moves, it's no longer there. So when I take, queen takes down. And guess what? I just lost a full knight. Whatever. We'll keep playing. I bring my bishop back. I do not want to trade queens. So he goes here. I attack the queen. Takes, and his queen moves. I bring my pieces in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a way to attack you, even though I lost a piece. He goes here, and now I get a chance to win with this. Basically, the whole thing is I am now breaking open the king side. I'm absolutely open. What's the move here? Yeah. Basically, I'm busting open his king side, and I have far better chances of winning, but I'm mad because I lost a piece, so I trade off, trade, blocks it, move my bishop, opens up his bishop. Attack his queen. Queen moves. Bring my rook up. He develops a knight. I try to trade bishops. He doesn't want to trade. I double up my rooks. He doubles his. And he finds this. Pinning my rook to my king. I get rid of the pin. Takes my rook. And in this position, I resign. So, I had a great attack. I was completely winning. I had an absolute crushing advantage, and I managed to completely throw it all away. So, it happens. You win some, you lose some. So, we'll just see how this game goes. Oh, okay. E4. We get a Caro-Kann. Just skipping past all the theory, just all developing moves. I attack his bishop. Bishop moves back. I was considering moves like this. I kind of liked it, but I hated this pin. This pin was really annoying. In fact, the main line is I need to go here first. Just be calm, develop it, because this pin is incredibly strong. So I back up this pawn. His queen goes here, and I escape the pin. Basically saying, I'm going to attack you. If you take this, I'll take this, and we'll see what happens. My king side's weak, because, you know, this. My king is open, but how are you going to attack it? So I'm calling his bluff. He takes, and I try to be fancy. I do an intermediary move. I take a pawn. He moves, and now I take his bishop. However, he traps my bishop. So I go, okay, whatever. Check this out. I take another Desperado. He takes, and now here's what I calculated. Okay, I calculated, I'm going to zoom in for this. Queen goes here. Rook tries to move over, and my queen moves over to here, and it is checkmate on the king. That is what I calculated. Then my queen takes this and goes here once the rook moves over. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take it. You'll see it's a blunder, but we don't know why. I'm like, oh. So he goes here. And I'm like, wait a minute. He's blundered main one. So what I do is I move it over. I hit the clock and I go, good game. And then he points something out. My queen is pinned. Because if my queen were to move, he'd take my king. It's illegal. I just lost my queen because of a thinking oversight. I take the rook, he takes, and I try to fight for something, but I run out of checks, and mate is basically unstoppable. I resign, and that concludes my tournament. Now, I ended with 1.5 points. Less than my first tournament. 1.5 points out of 5. So, not great. However, just ignore. However, reading history graphs. No, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, that's my rating right now. We're going to get after that. Right now, I am 15-19 over the board. But here we go. Winter Open, U1800 section. We go from 1,090 to 1,000 to 1,167. 1167. That's pretty good. So even though we had sort of a crappy result, I gained a ton of rating from the win and the draw I got. So, I mean, I'll take it. It was an okay tournament. I had some good wins and I had some terrible losses. But all in all, it's pretty fun. So that is my second ever tournament. Peace out, everyone.